everyone to our Fight Back ceremony. We are here together to fight back. We must fight back to honor the memories of all the people cancer has taken from us. We must fight back to protect our children, brothers, sisters, parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and friends from this disease. Your participation in Relay for Life means you are a vital part of the American Cancer Society's effort to eliminate cancer. Together, we are taking this day to make a statement about our commitment into finishing the fight.
Many of you work 365 days a year to improve the lives of those battling this disease. You drive patients to treatment, you serve as ambassadors in your community, you raise money to help the American Cancer Society researchers find cancer's causes and cures, you provide support to newly diagnosed cancer patients, and you encourage others to get screened for cancer. In short, you embody all that the American Cancer Society is. You save lives, you help those battling cancer, and you empower others to fight back with you. At this time, I would like to introduce you to a woman that has joined us tonight to share her story of how this horrible disease changed her family's life. Please welcome Joan Ackley.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Lynn and Ashley, and for inviting me to speak today. Besides being, I'm here to share my daughter Kristen's story. Besides being Kristen's mom, who is forever 35, I have another daughter who is 2 years younger, and I've also been a nurse since 1979, just to give you a little background. My older daughter, Kristen, was the first of 13 grandchildren. She was the valedictorian of Sacred Heart High School in Waterbury, Connecticut. She graduated magna cum laude from Drew University in Madison, New Jersey with a bachelor's in behavioral science. She received her master's in social work at Columbia University. She began her career at Family Intervention Services in New Jersey, counseling children and families in their homes. Her next job was working for St. Barnabas Hospital, Livingston, New Jersey, outpatient for a pediatric neurologist. Over time, she became a licensed clinical social worker and, opened her own private practice for children and families. She was also an adjunct professor at Seton Hall University. Kristen married her college sweetheart, Charlie, in 2010, and in May 2013, they bought a home in Maplewood, New Jersey. She had a cute calico cat named Maddie. She also somehow found time to be a lector at church and to be active in her neighborhood and community. She and Charlie were talking about starting a family, when she was diagnosed. Kristen was the last person you would ever expect to get cancer. She ate a healthy, organic diet with no pork or beef, exercised regularly, never smoked, and drank only socially. She was not promiscuous. She had only one sexual partner in her life, but yet she was diagnosed with base of tongue HPV stage 4 cancer at the age of 31. Kristen was not able to get the HPV vaccine as it came out in June of 2006 when she was 24. It wasn't well known at the time, and it wouldn't have been effective at that age, unfortunately, back then. Her only symptom in November of 2013 was a left-sided persistent sore throat. She saw her primary doctor, who couldn't see anything, had a negative strep test, then saw a ENT who scoped her and told her he saw an ulcer that looked suspicious. She had an MRI and a biopsy was ordered. Kristen picked up the MRI report and read it alone in a parking garage. Her heart stopped and her mind went blank when she saw probable squamous cell carcinoma at the end of the report. The biopsy confirmed it soon after. She was one of thousands diagnosed with HPV-related cancers yearly. In December of 2013, Kristen had 2 surgeries. First, 43 lymph nodes were removed from her left neck, followed a few days later by a robotic surgery to remove the tumor. She was in intensive care for a few days awake, yet on a ventilator to prevent bleeding. She had a feeding tube the first week, then progressed to a puree diet, then solids a month later. She had to relearn how to talk and eat again. Her pain was intense, but with the persistent help and coaching of her husband, she did voice exercises several times daily as she was determined to return to work and normal functioning. Unfortunately, the tumor had started to spread to the other side of her tongue, and 1 lymph node was positive. 1. Due to this, she had to begin radiation and chemo 1 month later. The 8.5 weeks of radiation caused increased pain in her mouth and throat despite heavy medication, causing her to go back to pureed foods. At the completion of the radiation in April, she ended up in the hospital due to side effects of treatment. She recovered at home for 1 month, then went back to work part-time and a month later full-time. She continued working with physical and speech therapy and considered herself lucky to have recovered her speech and swallowing. Kristen's first postoperative PET scan in July of 2014 revealed a few small nodules found in her lungs. They continued to grow slowly until January of 15, when she had lung surgery on her left lung to remove them. Our hearts sank when the surgeon spoke to us after surgery and told us the cancer was spreading further in her left lung. The planned surgery on her right lung was canceled. Kristen then did 7 clinical trials. She was treated at University of Pennsylvania, Johns Hopkins, Sloan Kettering, Baylor in Houston, and her local oncologist in New Jersey. Thanks to her trials, advancements have been made in the treatment of this cancer. Through it all, she never gave up or lost hope, fighting against time to slow or stop the cancer. Kristen had severe pain through most of those 4 years. She took many high-dose medications for pain, and of course, they had side effects such as urinary retention, constipation, fatigue, forgetfulness. She was in and out of the hospital many times over the 4 years. She often received radiation therapy just to ease her pain. Kristen loved life, and when able, she got away with Charlie on trips to San Francisco and New Orleans despite the chronic pain. Kristen herself gave several talks on HPV and her experience. She also co-organized a Live Strong support group for cancer patients at the YMCA. The cancer slowly continued to spread to her left ribs and spleen, around her left side, up her back and spinal cord. She started to have trouble walking, so in May of 17, she had her 4th surgery to remove cancer from her spinal cord. Then 2 days later, they operated again as they realized they hadn't gotten it all. Unfortunately, Kristen spent her 35th and last birthday, June 4th of 17, in the emergency room. Soon after, her leg worsened and she had to start using a walker and a splint on her leg. She was hospitalized again and started having trouble with her other leg. Soon her lower body was completely paralyzed. After the hospital, she went to Kessler Rehab in New Jersey so she and her husband could learn how to care for her at home. Finally, she went home on palliative care. The hospital bed at home caused a bed sore and even more back pain despite a special mattress and regular turning. Kristen made it through this time with the love and support of her family and friends. When she was up to it, they visited, bringing flowers, gifts, and her favorite foods to cheer her up, especially alcohol and chocolate. The neighborhood children drew cards with pictures for her. Kristen had hosted a Halloween party for them the year before. Of course, she came as Supergirl. Her therapist had suggested she spend time with children, as she was never to have her own. The cancer continued to progress upward and started affecting her breathing, swallowing, and speech. After 3 weeks at home, she went back into the hospital for the last time at the end of October 17. Her swallowing and speech continued to decline. She could no longer eat or drink, and she went on hospice. Her last 3 days, she was unconscious, but even then, she could not die in peace. She had several grand mal seizures before mercifully finally passing on Thursday, November 9th, 17. The public needs to be educated that HPV is a virus that nearly everyone will get in their lifetime, and many, but not all, will recover from. The vaccine's ability to prevent cancer needs to be emphasized. Due to the stigma of HPV as a sexually transmitted disease, doctors tend not to push for vaccination and parents don't request it. My daughter believed the vaccine should be included in the routine required immunization schedule instead of as a separate vaccine to be discussed. Follow-up needs to occur to ensure the children, both girls and boys, return for their second injection. Primary doctors, OBGYNs, ENTs, and dentists especially need to be trained to recognize and test for HPV. When HPV cancer is caught and treated early, the patient has a much better chance of long-term survival. Local surgeons and oncologists tend not to be educated on the latest treatment for cancer and refer patients to larger institutions for second opinions. Kristen was advised only to do chemo and radiation by her original local doctors. She would not have had 4 more years to live the life she so loved if she had followed their advice. Kristen's dream was for HPV-related cancers to be wiped out. Please don't let any more young adults suffer and die as she did. With your help, I hope we can eradicate this totally preventable disease and make her dream come true. Please feel free to share Kristen's story to help achieve that goal. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you for sharing your story with us tonight. We will end this ceremony with a poem.
A poem of hope. One song can spark a moment. One flower can wake the dream. One tree can start a forest. One bird can herald spring. One smile begins a friendship. One hand clasp lifts a soul. One star can guide a ship at sea. One word can frame the goal. One vote can change a nation. One sunbeam light a room. One candle wipes out darkness. One laugh will conquer gloom. One step must start each journey. One word must start each prayer. One hope will raise our spirits. One touch can show we care. One voice can speak with wisdom. One heart can know what's true. One life can make the difference. You see, it's up to you.